Today's resin, Zmud Gray. Remember, shake your resin. Hey everybody, back with another resin test. I've tested a few resins, so I'm going to make a few videos in a row. And let's start with whatever I grab. And right in front of me is Zmud Gray. Okay, so I'm also going to review Zmud Beige, which I really like. I had gotten some in when Unis was doing their Kickstarter. They had sent me some of the Zmud to use with the printer they sent me to test, and I really liked the Zmud at that time, but I didn't have enough to really test, so I had to order more, wait for it to get in, which I did. I actually got a couple weeks ago, tested it, but didn't get around to making the video, so that'll be part of the test. But I grabbed the Zmud Gray first, which is the gray version of their Zmud. And instead of, usually I put the high-res photos at the end. Now I realize it's easier to just insert them as I go and makes the video shorter. You know, maybe only a minute shorter, but I know people like shorter. So I have two figures here which I printed up. Let's cut to the high-res photos. You guys can, make your own determination on what you think. It's a high accuracy resin, I believe, just like the Zmud Beige. It gave really good, crisp details. Very happy with it. In terms of printing speed, I basically was using the same settings that I was using with my Epax Hard Gray. I think I was able at the end, I think I dialed it down a little bit and still got good results. So I would say it cures the same as Epax Hard Gray, or maybe even a tiny little bit faster. Comes out really nice. And one of the things, if you guys watch the videos I put out over the next few days on each resin, all the resins are almost getting like the printers, and I feel like the resins have all leveled up. Like the resins I just tested, everything on the table in front of me, which is the Zmud Gray, the Beige Zmud, the Rep Wrapper, the Hero. Everyone wanted me to test Hero. I finally got around to it. And also the Frozen 4K, which I tested as well. All of them gave me good results, actually. So anyway, let's get back to the Zmud. So I guess what we should do, as you guys know, this is always a painful part for me, is to, now that I know that prints well, I have to see how it takes damage. Oh, by the way, these big dudes down here, kind of unrelated. These are just some test prints I've been doing for Print Your Minis, which is by Atlantis Miniatures. So they didn't come to Patreon. I think they're just doing a subscription system on their website, like the way Loot does it. But unlike Loot, these guys are not realistic proportions. These guys are like a little more cartoony, but I prefer cartoony. So I'm not knocking Loot, but I don't like that style at all. But this type of style, like a little bit cartoony, exaggerated proportions, kind of like Artisan Guild, Titan Forge, stuff like that. That's what I really, that gets me going in terms of looks. So they made some big figures that I just tested. They just happened to be down here because I was taking pics. So you can kind of ignore them for now. Although maybe they'll add some spice to the testing when I do this. So let me get the ones I'm not testing out of the way. I don't need to throw this guy. Everything will break. He's glued onto a base, and the guns are glued. The crossbow hands are glued in, so those will definitely shatter if I drop them. Maybe I'll do it anyway. Just it hurts so much to do. So first, let's check. I guess what we should do is check the sword. The sword is nice and thin, and even on brittle resins, the thinner parts, give you some flexibility. So let's just first see what happens as I bend the sword. So let me do it this way so you can see. So it's about, it's almost 90 degrees already. So let me see if I can keep going. So way past 90, about 135. It's almost folded over. I have a feeling it's going to snap if I fold it all the way. Let's see. Oh, check that out. Okay. That was surprising because it's funny, to the touch, it actually felt a little brittle. And then I bet if I keep bending, it's got to snap eventually, right? Okay, so there it goes, it snapped. So when I put the pressure at where it was really bending, it snapped. But you saw when I just had the pressure on the tip, I was able to bend it almost a full 180 degrees, which that's pretty good. So I wonder how it survives some, just small drops. And I am expecting these braids. So the braids are kind of, you know, hanging by themselves, and they're pretty thin. I mean, this is a small figure. I think he's 28 millimeters tall, so it's not big, and it's got these extensions. And let's see, I mean, the sword was pretty flexible. I'm not expecting it now to break, although since I broke it, maybe it's weak there. Okay, now I know people like this part of my video because this is where we get sciencey. And by sciencey, it means we throw it higher. Okay. Nothing broke. So let's go for the full, about 4.5, 5 feet. Okay, doesn't count. Woo! That was a good one. We lost one of the braids on that toss. So now let me see. Nope, nothing else broken. Let me see if I can throw it on this last little braid here. Still not broken. It still didn't break. I want to make sure it's hitting. Okay. Still didn't break. So it's got a little flex to it actually. Well, I guess a normal fall, you know, it's holding up. I'd actually say that's holding up pretty decently well. I mean, we did lose one of the thin parts, but that's it so far. No other damage to the mini. Whoa, and I stuffed them. Still, that last braid's still holding. So in terms of break, this Zmud Gray actually a little better than I thought. I got it. I got it that time. That was pretty hard whack. But you see, that's kind of a lot of force. Let's see what it takes to, you know, break a leg off. Oh, that's pretty strong. Okay, I can break the sword off. That's easy because that's so super thin. But the leg, which is not that thick. Okay, I can't. Here, I'm going to break this. Oh, holy crap. Okay, that's actually strong. Let me squeeze them together. Maybe that'll work better. That actually hurt my fingers. Okay. Okay. That took actually some pretty significant force. This is a little less brittle and a little stronger than I was expecting. So, okay, so the Zmud Gray, this is going to break easy, I think, because like I said, I still have this theory. I know people who know chemistry have disagreed with me, but I have still found that every place that I glue a model, no matter how good the resin, even resin that's done really well in drop test, where I have the glue, I drop it, it breaks. So I need someone more sciencey than me to do some tests and back me up. My anecdotal evidence, I'm sure that where the glue hits this resin, it becomes more brittle somehow. I literally, anytime I do these, it drops where I glue it. Let's see if that's true. Yeah, okay, so look, right where it was glued, both parts shattered. Still backs up what I think. Let me drop it onto the top of the sword. Drop it onto the top of the sword, boom, that broke off also. That wasn't glued, but that was thin. So let's see. Something else came. This time we got an arm. That was good. Nothing that time. Oh, no, nothing. Let me see if I can get the other arm. This arm's a little more stubborn. Hey, landed standing up. That's like that bottle flip challenge. I should have entered that. Oh, well, okay. Okay, this last arm. Okay, this second arm doesn't want to break for some reason. So, okay, I'm actually surprised. Well, the base didn't break, I guess. There's a big rock part glued on, so that makes it a lot more stable than normal. So maybe that's why that didn't break like normal. But overall, this Zmud Gray, I almost said beige. This Zmud Gray, printed really crisp. Well, you decide. You look at the pictures, and you decide if you think the detail looks good. I think the detail looks good, and better in the drop test than I thought. Now, let me talk about curing. This Okay, so Epax Hard, Siraya Navy Gray. With Epax Hard, everyone knows probably if you watch my channel or if you see me posting pics on Facebook, the Epax Hard Gray. And I have to digress because they had a little bad batch. We're waiting for them to get back to normal, where it messed with the bottom times, got messed up. But that Epax Hard Gray holds the best detail, is strong, and also I feel like it has, I want to get this right, the most margin for error, like in your settings. Like I get no fails with the Epax Hard Gray. Now my second favorite right behind that now, and quickly catching up actually, is the Siraya Navy Gray, because that show, you know, incredible details, prints. It looks like almost no light bleed to me, so the details come through like really crisp and perfect looking. And did okay in the break test also, but for me, you know, how it prints is even more, unless it's super brittle, you know, it's more important how it prints, and I love that Siraya Navy Gray. This, I would say this Zmud Beige might be the tiniest touch behind in terms of the detail, but I feel like did better in the break tests actually. So this Zmud Gray, I like it. I'll actually use this. This isn't one of those things like some resins I test that are okay, but I'm not going to use them. The Zmud Gray I'm actually going to use. So that's it for my Zmud Gray review. Hopefully in a day or two I'll have the Zmud Beige review out, which is the beige. And I just broke him when I picked him up and squished his braid in. So I guess that part of the test we won't have to do again. And then I have Hero Gray coming up, Rep Rapper Gray, and the Frozen 4K Gray. And then I have even more coming up after that. Amerilab sent me some fancy looking resin, which advanced modeling. I mean, it looks and sounds fancy. I got a couple other ones to test. So the next 2 weeks, hopefully you're going to see a bunch of these resin test videos. Hopefully, I know because in certain countries, in certain areas, due to shipping, due to availability, some of these resins that I really like, some of you can't get, I know. So I figured I'd start reviewing more resins. I can find some other good resins for people who don't, like some people tell me the Epax Hard Gray is hard for them to get. So maybe some of these other resins I'm reviewing, hopefully they'll be good, and then hopefully they'll also be available to you. So I'm trying to expand the resin reviews to try and help you guys find some good resins. In comments, you know, let me know if there are other resins you want me to review. You know, put them in the comments, and you know, I'll try to make the time to review them. Especially if it's stuff that's maybe only available in Europe, or you know, or a place like Australia or someplace where it's tougher to get some of the other resins in. I'll be happy to try to review those for you. That's it. Thank you for watching, and happy 3D printing.